multi-specialty service, which according to the hospital provides individualized, safe, and affirmative care to gender diverse and transgendered individuals and their families. On August 30th, the hospital received a telephonic bomb threat. The hospital operator answered the call, and the caller said in part, quote, "There is a bomb on the way to the hospital. You better evacuate everybody, you sickos." As you can imagine, this resulted in an immediate response by the hospital and local authorities and federal authorities. The hospital and the surrounding area were placed on lockdown, and the bomb squad was dispatched. It was later determined that no explosive devices were located at the hospital. Through outstanding work by the FBI, the Boston Police Department, and the assistance today and before that with the Westfield Police Department, investigators quickly identified a T-Mobile account and through court-authorized search warrants and other techniques determined that the owner of that telephone account was the defendant, Ms. Levy. She was arrested at her home earlier today, and the telephone used to make the alleged threat was recovered. Ms. Levy is charged with one count of making a false telephonic bomb threat. She appeared just a short while ago before a magistrate judge here in this building. She will be held pending a detention hearing scheduled for tomorrow at noon. This alleged conduct is disturbing, to say the least. Bomb hoaxes cause fear, panic, and a diversion of resources that have real impact on our communities. The people that work at Children's Hospital and the parents that bring their loved ones to Children's Hospital are under enough stress. While I cannot comment further on the alleged motive of this case, I want to say generally that healthcare providers who support and offer care to gender diverse and transgendered individuals and their families deserve to do so without fear. As Attorney General Merrick Garland has said recently, the Department of Justice will ensure equal protection of transgender people under the law. Hard stop. I have made confronting hate crimes a priority and will continue to vigorously investigate and prosecute individuals who cross the line of free speech and choose to inflict fear and intimidation with their words and actions. It seems that this is happening all too often, that hoaxes are used to promote personal hateful beliefs and ideologies. We will not stand by and allow this to continue. I want to again commend the outstanding work of the FBI and the Boston Police Department, as well as our partners in the Westfield Police Department, many of whom were working double time on this and other matters. It is a testament to them and their skills that they were able to solve this matter in a timely manner and under an extreme amount of pressure. I turn it over now to the Special Agent in charge of the FBI.
Thank you, Rachel, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joe Bonavolanta, the Special Agent in charge of the FBI Boston Division. Earlier this morning, the FBI arrested Catherine Levy for calling Boston Children's Hospital on August 30th and making a telephonic bomb threat. We took her into custody at her home in Westfield, Massachusetts, without incident. As a result of her threatening call, the hospital and the surrounding area was placed in lockdown. The Boston Police Department bomb squad was deployed, and no explosive devices were found. Today's arrest should serve as a strong warning to others that making threats of violence is not a prank. It's a federal crime and can carry up to 5 years in a federal prison. Law enforcement must work all threats of violence as a top priority because we never know if the subjects behind them are going to follow through with their actions. These threats put innocent people at risk, divert law enforcement from responding to actual emergencies, are costly to taxpayers, and cause undue stress to victims and the community. In recent months, Boston Children's Hospital has been the subject of sustained harassment related to the airing of grievances pertaining to services they provide to gender diverse and transgender individuals and their families. This has caused a huge amount of angst, alarm, and unnecessary expenditure of limited law enforcement resources. Specifically, the hospital has received dozens of hoax threats, including harassing phone calls and emails, individual death threats, and threats of mass casualty attacks. This behavior is nothing short of reprehensible, and let me be clear, it needs to stop now. The real victims in this case are the hospital's patients, children with rare diseases, complex conditions, and those seeking emergency care who had to divert to other hospitals because of these hoax threats. Threatening the life of anyone who seeks any type of health service is a heinous act and will not be tolerated. People need to handle their disagreements to beliefs that are contrary to theirs civilly, without the threat of force or any kind of intimidation. No one should feel unsafe in their own home, workplace, school, or hospital, and anyone who threatens our community with violence, as we've alleged in this case, should know that this kind of conduct could result in serious legal repercussions. I'd like to extend my sincere thanks to United States Attorney Rollins and her team, Boston Police Commissioner Michael Cox and the Boston Police Department, the Westfield Police Department, along with the agents, analysts, and task force officers on FBI Boston Division's Joint Terrorism Task Force. Thank you.
Commissioner Cox?
Thank you. And to reiterate, certainly what the FBI just mentioned is, first of all, I just want to say on behalf of Mayor Wu and the people of Boston, we are thankful to the hard work that both the FBI and U.S. Attorney's Office are, and other law enforcement agencies who are committed to making sure that both the residents and our institutions in the city are safe. And we will expend almost any means we have to make sure that happens. We will always partner to make sure that our folks are safe, and that we will do everything that we can to bring to justice folks who put people's safety at risk. And so, as was said earlier, no one should have to worry about, when you come into our city, or about the safety of our healthcare workers, of patients, of families, of students in general. And so I do want to thank all our law enforcement partners in the city that we work with for the strong commitment we have towards the residents and the people who live and work here. Thank you.
Questions?
You mentioned that there were other incidents at the hospital recently that have been the subject of a barrage of calls. Is this woman connected to others? And if not, who's connected to those?
So I can turn it over to the FBI, but simply to say we've charged this individual. We have alleged one crime against this individual. We charged her by complaint, and there might be more charges coming, as there might always be, or not. But right now, we only have information about this one thing. I can turn it over to the FBI about the other calls, but we are certainly looking.
Sure. And as far as the other threats, that there have been well over a dozen, distinct threats. And as I said before, we treat those as a top priority, and we will run and vet every one of them down. And there could very well be other ongoing and active investigations.
So do you think she acted alone?
Well, I'm not going to comment on what we think. I would just direct you to the charging document, and right now let that stand on its own.
It is now that you're releasing that she's charged with is that she acted alone for this one incident, right?
It's, yes, as alleged in the complaint, but as we said, sir, we are permitted to, within the next 30 days, increase. And, when we usually charge by complaint, we continue looking, right? And we continue searching. And I can assure you, Boston Police and the FBI, every one of those threats that we discussed, although she's only charged with one of them, we are trying to find out who the individuals are that are doing that.
But there was a second bomb threat at Children's Hospital 2 weeks later.
There were two distinct threats that have been made to Children's, as well as other entities in our community. We are only charging her with the one that I discussed today.
So her phone isn't connected to that second one?
We can't comment on that. We can only say that we know it's connected to the one that we charged her with today.
And was she working alone, or is she connected to some sort of a sinister group in America that's targeting hospitals? Like, how does a woman from Westfield grab her cell phone and just call the operator at Children's Hospital?
I think we'll be finding out a bit more of her in the future, but as of right now, we just have the information that's charged in the complaint.
Yes.
And can we just ask you quickly about the situation with the migrants in Martha's Vineyard? Do you have an intention to go after the governor of Florida did he do something illegal by being involved in their transport to Martha's Vineyard?
We are looking into that case, and we'll be speaking with members of the Department of Justice. Massachusetts isn't the only place where this has happened. We have several other sister communities, whether it's D.C., New York, California, where we've seen things like this, and we're hoping to get some input from the Department of Justice about what our next steps might be, if any at all.
But did the governor break the law? The governor of Florida break the law in any way by these people ending up on the vineyard yesterday?
I don't have enough information to answer that question, sir. What I can say is that we want to make sure that individuals are treated with dignity and respect, period, and that they received good care, I hope, when they came into our Commonwealth. I'll be waiting for more information from the Department of Justice. When I have it, we will let you know.
And
Any
is it
other
an-
questions?
Is it an interstate kidnapping case?
Steve, we're going to move over to Bob.
Joe, I have a question for you about the situation at Northeastern University. There are reports that that may also be a hoax. And is that somehow related to what's going on in Westfield? Or can you give us an update on what's going on with that investigation at Northeastern University?
So as you well know, that is very much still an active and ongoing investigation. And all I can say at this point is that we continue to work side by side through our FBI Boston Division Joint Terrorism Task Force, the Boston Police Department, and the Northeastern University Police Department. But beyond that, it's very fluid and it's still an active and ongoing investigation.
Being investigated as a possible hoax?
I can't comment on that because it's an ongoing investigation.
Can you rule out terrorism?
It's the same. It's an ongoing investigation, so we'll see where this leads.
Do you
Is the
feel like you're
community
getting
at
closer? Yeah. Do you feel like you're getting closer to understanding what that was all about? Because the students at Northeastern are very concerned. They don't know what's happened. You have this happening just down the street, really, at Children's Hospital, now Northeastern University. There are questions of hoaxes, whether things are legitimate. People don't know what to think.
So there have already been statements that have been released, whether it be through Boston Police Department or Northeastern University on that. But what I can say related to any potential imminent danger to the public or safety is at this point in time, we are not in receipt of any intelligence that would deem there to be a sustained issue when it comes to public safety.
Do you feel like you're getting closer to understanding what happened?
Well, the investigation continues to progress.